It's April 22, 2004. A cargo train barrels through Pyongan province in North Korea. The locals are having lunch on what is seemingly just another ordinary day. Then suddenly, the tranquility is broken. The train has exploded. The force of the blast is so enormous it measures 3.6 on the Richter scale, practically an earthquake. But this is not the work of nature. Hundreds are killed, thousands more are injured. The North Korean government scrambles to attend and control the scene. Soon it becomes clear that this is no ordinary accident when the first responders emerge, fully clad in hazmat suits and masks. They are seen taking samples of the soil in the blast area. The official statement is that the train was transporting liquefied natural gas, and one of the many tankers likely caused the explosion. A few days after the blast, a Syrian plane lands in North Korea. 12 lead-lined coffins are seen being loaded onto the plane. They reportedly contain the remains of deceased Syrian scientists. This latest development piques the interest of an Israeli agency halfway around the world. The agency concerned is the Institute for Intelligence and Special Operations, known simply by the Hebrew name Mossad. Meir Dagan, director of the Mossad, is notified. If what they now suspect is true, the situation would present an existential threat to Israel. They now suspect that Syria has a top-secret nuclear program. The hostile neighbour might be secretly making nuclear weapons with the help of North Korea. The plane carrying the remains of the Syrian scientists who died in the North Korean blast arrives in Syria. There too, the coffins are seen being unloaded by people dressed in chemical suits. For the Mossad, this is highly suspicious. It can only mean one thing: nuclear radioactive contamination. Uncovering what the Syrians and North Koreans are up to becomes the Mossad's top priority. May 2006, 2 years after the blast. The relentless pursuit of shady figures in the world of espionage has led the Israeli intelligence agents to a Syrian official who has checked into a London hotel under an assumed name. A beautiful woman approaches the Syrian in the hotel's restaurant and begins to chat him up. The Syrian quickly warms to her affections and begins flirting. What he doesn't know is that the woman is no random beauty. She is an agent of the Mossad. The pair order drinks, and as she keeps him occupied, Israeli agents break into his hotel room to gather intelligence. The Mossad has hit the jackpot. They find the Syrian's laptop and immediately begin working on it. The agents copy the entire hard drive and install digital monitoring devices. When the woman sees her team nodding as they casually walk out of the hotel, she knows the job is done and abandons the unsuspecting Syrian. Back in Israel, at the Mossad command center, the contents of the Syrian's laptop light up on the big screen. What they soon find is staggering. Blueprints of North Korea's Yongbyon nuclear weapons facility, photos showing construction of a large installation in Syria matching the blueprints, and photos of the same at an advanced phase of construction. It is now beyond doubt that with the help of the rogue North Korean regime, Syria is secretly building a nuclear facility to make the H-bomb. A nuclear-armed Syria is a terrifying prospect for Israel. Although Dagan and the Mossad have uncovered the secret, there is a problem. They don't know where the facility is located in Syria, and because the construction photos are not dated, it is now a race against time to find it before it's too late. For that, they turn to Israeli satellite images and the electronic surveillance team. As they sift through reels of satellite images and potential sites, one in particular stands out. 280 miles northeast of Damascus, a large facility in Al-Kabar closely resembles the photos. Not long after, the electronic surveillance team confirms their suspicions. Listening devices have detected daily communication between the large facility in Al-Kabar and Pyongyang, North Korea. The next morning, Dagan, chief of the Mossad, pays a visit to Ehud Olmert, the Prime Minister of Israel. The average intelligence report from the Mossad is enough to unnerve even the most hardened Israeli leader. But when one is being hand-delivered by the head of the Mossad himself, it is ominous. Chief of the Mossad looks his Prime Minister Ehud Olmert in the eye, and with a straight face bluntly tells him, Syria has a nuclear program and could be well advanced in their pursuit of acquiring nuclear weapons. The room falls silent. The Prime Minister is stunned. A nuclear Syria is not an option for Israel. The two men agree the Syrian nuclear program had to be eliminated, but there was one problem. Was the Syrian nuclear reactor already active? If it was, then any efforts to eliminate it by bombing would cause radioactive material to poison both air and water, resulting in a humanitarian and environmental catastrophe on the order of Chernobyl. The kind of disaster no government would ever want to be held responsible for. Dagan and Olmert conclude there was only one way to find out. Sending men to Al-Kabar in Syria to gather intel on whether the Syrian reactor was now active. For such a dangerous, risky and important mission, the Prime Minister immediately called on the unit, one of the most elite special forces in the world, known by the Hebrew name Sayeret Matkal. The Prime Minister's mission is a go. On an overcast summer night, two Sikorsky CH-53C Stallion helicopters lift off. On board, Sayeret Matkal elite commandos, dressed in Syrian soldier uniforms for disguise. Destination: Al-Kabar, Syria. The helicopters fly low to avoid radar detection. In Al-Kabar, they are dropped off a mile from the target. They walk to the Syrian reactor, arriving undetected. Would they evade the Syrians, or were they about to be discovered and captured by the Syrian patrol units lurking in the dark? At the site, the Israeli commandos take photographs of Syria's nuclear facility and its surroundings. Crucially, they also take water and soil samples to carry back for analysis. Having obtained what they came for, the Sayeret Matkal retreat back to the extraction point and hide. Minutes pass. Every minute feels like an eternity. Then, the sound of Sikorsky CH-53 helicopters is heard in the pitch dark. They climb into the helicopters and take off. By sunrise, the samples collected by the Sayeret Matkal are in the hands of Israeli scientists at a lab in Tel Aviv. Tests are done to determine the level of nuclear radioactivity. The Prime Minister and head of the Mossad receive the long-awaited news. The samples confirm that radioactive material is present at the site. But crucially, the reactor is not yet active. Now only one question remained before the Israeli National Security Team: which method to employ in their daring bid to eliminate the Syrian nuclear installation. They determined that commandos could not carry enough explosives to blow up a military-grade structure made of reinforced concrete. There was only one weapon in Israel's arsenal that could pack enough force to blow up the nuclear reactor, safely entering and departing Syria at lightning speed. the Israeli Air Force. The next phase of the daring plan would be carried out using airstrikes. For that, Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert turned to another Special Forces unit, a team of elite fighter pilots, Squadron 69, the Hammer Squadron, in Hebrew, Hapatashim. Years earlier, they bombed Iraq's nuclear program, ending Saddam Hussein's ambitions to get the H-bomb. Now, they have their sights set on another nuclear program in the neighbourhood, but a formidable adversary awaits them. The Syrian dictator, Bashar Al Assad. General Amos Yadlin, head of Israeli military intelligence, is a key planner on the mission. Many years earlier, in 1981, he was one of the young fighter pilots that carried out the risky air raid to eliminate Saddam Hussein's nuclear program. Yadlin knows that doing the same in Syria will be much more difficult. The Syrian dictator, Bashar Al Assad, has spent billions modernizing the Syrian defense forces. He has stocked up on Russian-made Tor anti-aircraft missile systems, ready to shoot down any aircraft that enters Syrian airspace unauthorized. Assad has turned Syria into a fortress. The mission is classified top secret. Even the pilots training to go on it do not know when the mission will occur, what the target is, or where it is located. One man who knows is General Eliezer Shkedi, Chief of the Air Force. He will command the mission. As the pilots train, he watches on from a distance, handpicking the best pilots for the dangerous mission. A son of Holocaust survivors. The importance of the mission weighs heavily on him. The responsibility of protecting Israel, the only fallback homeland for all Jewish people around the world. Israeli military planners decide that a maximum of only 10 planes can be sent on the mission to reduce the risk of being discovered. Mossad agents report that a North Korean cargo ship is on the way to Syria, carrying the equipment and components to finally activate Assad's nuclear reactor. When the ship is spotted approaching to dock, Prime Minister Ehud Olmert orders the mission to go. Shortly before midnight on the 5th of September 2007, 10 fighter planes from the elite Squadron 69 take off, armed with 500-pound bombs. Destination unknown. As directed by Israel's command center known as the Pit, they fly over the Mediterranean, turning east over Turkish airspace. Once the Pit determines that none of the 10 planes have any technical faults, 3 of the 10 planes are called back and 7 F-16 fighter planes proceed. The remaining 7 pilots are told, this is not a drill, this is a live, zero-fail mission. They will soon enter Syrian airspace and will likely face a heavy barrage of anti-aircraft missiles. The exact coordinates of the Al-Kabar nuclear installation are given and appear on their screens. Flying 600 miles per hour over Syrian airspace, Assad's secret nuclear installation soon comes into view. Then suddenly, Syrian anti-aircraft missiles light up the night as Israeli pilots dip and sway, dodging each missile. They close in on their target. Seconds apart, each pilot drops 500-pound bombs on the Syrian nuclear installation and watch as it bursts into flames. Meanwhile, a hush of silence blankets the Israeli command center as everyone waits nervously for the next communication. The silence is unbearable. Then suddenly, the voice of an Israeli pilot is heard over the command center's loudspeakers.
Arizona, Arizona, Arizona.
The predetermined code word for a successful strike. The mission was a complete success. The nuclear threat neutralized, all that remained of Bashar al Assad's multi-billion-dollar nuclear weapons facility was a smouldering pile of rubble. In a bold move, Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert messages Syrian President Bashar al Assad to inform him that Israel was responsible for the raid on his secret nuclear weapons facility in Al-Kabar. Assad is fuming, but he is caught in a dilemma. If he retaliates, he risks being publicly exposed for violating international law by developing nuclear weapons. Syria would then be subjected to diplomatic pressure, weapons inspections, sanctions, and the freezing of assets held overseas. Adding to that, the whole world would know that Israel entered Syria undetected and eliminated his nuclear program, a humiliation the dictator was keen to avoid. In the end, Assad backs down. He concludes that the diplomatic fallout and being humiliated on the world stage are too big a price to pay. But while Assad has backed down from retaliation, he is not backing down from getting the H-bomb. He resumes the project to acquire nuclear weapons. Soon, the architect of Syria's nuclear program, General Mohammed Suleiman, will find himself face to face with a Black Ops team from Israel. General Mohammed Suleiman is one of the closest confidants of Syrian President Bashar Al Assad. So close to him, in fact, that in some circles he is referred to as the shadow of Assad. The Israeli government has received intel reports that the 49-year-old general is leading and coordinating the resumption of Syria's nuclear program. The architect of Syria's bid to acquire the H-bomb has made steady progress. For the Israeli Prime Minister and his government, it is unwelcome news. Back to the drawing board, they now face a momentous decision. They conclude that the only way to eliminate the Syrian nuclear threat is to remove General Suleiman. A call is placed to the most secret Black Ops unit in all Israel, the Kidon. They are known for one speciality: removing pieces from the chessboard. Aptly named in Hebrew, Kidon means bayonet. They immediately begin planning the operation to get Suleiman. The evasive general is heavily guarded. Getting to him in the capital of Damascus is considered nearly impossible. But soon a loophole is found. Word reaches the Kidon that General Suleiman plans to spend a weekend at his seaside villa in the Syrian coastal town of Tartus. For the Kidon, Tartus with its beach coastline and holiday vibes make it the ideal location to conduct their operation. They are certain that security will be relaxed. Close surveillance reveals that when General Suleiman is at the villa, he usually hosts his guests on the balcony facing the Mediterranean Sea. 1st August 2008, a small yacht rented from a wealthy businessman approaches the villa in Tartus. On board are 2 snipers from the Kidon. In the distance, the guests of General Suleiman have gathered on the balcony of the villa. The snipers change into scuba diving gear. The pair plunge into the Mediterranean and swim towards the villa, as the guests chat and mingle. General Suleiman is conspicuously absent. The snipers wait anxiously as their dark figures float and bobble in the shallow waters of the sea. Then a door opens. General Suleiman emerges to the applause of all the guests on the balcony. The operation has reached a critical point. As the general and his guests take their seats at the dinner table to begin dining, they are completely oblivious. The 2 Israeli snipers lurking in the shallow waters of the sea below take aim at him. Alpha 1 confirm. Target acquired. Alpha 2 confirm. Target acquired. With both snipers having confirmed clear sight of the target, the audio-electronic countdown is activated. When the count reaches 0, the snipers fire simultaneously. Suleiman slumps to the side, unresponsive on his dining chair. Shocked and alarmed, the guests get up and flee from the balcony. In the ensuing chaos, the Israeli snipers disappear beneath the water and, using their scuba diving equipment, escape from the scene to the nearby yacht. As news of the assassination spreads through the media, questions are asked. The Israeli government maintains its policy of ambiguity. They neither confirm nor deny their involvement in the assassination. As Israel's defenders say their prayers, it is merely the end of another chapter in the seemingly never-ending saga of the Middle East. The Syrian regime never pursues nuclear weapons again, and Bashar Al Assad is toppled from power by the Syrian people in 2024.